Imagine you've just landed at Madrid, Barajas. You're expecting the dream. You're expecting the Spain of Pedro Almodóvar films, the endless sun of the Costa del Sol, and a lifestyle that makes the 9-to-5 grind in London or New York look like a tragedy. You see the crowded terraces, the vibrant nightlife, the high-speed AVE trains, and you think, this is it. This is the wealthiest, happiest place on earth. But as you walk past the tourist traps of the Plaza Mayor, look closer at the faces of the people serving your sangria. You're stepping into a country that is slowly becoming a theme park for foreigners and a gilded prison for its own citizens. Spain is a global superpower in one thing: hospitality. But you can't build a future on olive oil and hotel beds alone. Beneath the surface, the Spanish miracle is rotting. Welcome to the reality of the Spanish decline. Here is why Spain is poorer and more frustrated than you think.
Let's talk about the Great Flattening. Imagine you're a 28-year-old in Madrid. You did everything right. You suffered through the selectividad, you got your master's degree, you speak 3 languages. You land a job at a multinational. You open your paycheck, 1,140 euros. In Spain, this has a name, mileurismo. It used to be a term for the low-paid. Now it's a luxury. In 2025, half the population earns barely more than the minimum wage. The gap between a good salary and a survival salary has effectively vanished. Because the cost of labor is so high for companies, they simply cannot afford to give raises. So, when the government raises the minimum wage, the bottom floor rises, but the ceiling stays where it is. You study for 6 years to earn 200 euros more than someone who dropped out. This is a motivation killer. It turns the entire country into a participation trophy society, where the prize is barely being able to afford a room in a shared apartment. This isn't just a statistic, it's the death of ambition.
Spain has become the digital nomad capital of the world. High-earning tech workers from Seattle and Berlin are flooding into Malaga, Valencia, and Barcelona, armed with salaries that locals can only dream of. The result? A financial murder scene in the real estate market. In cities like Barcelona, a basic studio costs 1,500 euros a month. Remember that 1,100 euro salary? The math is impossible. Local Spaniards are being economically cleansed from their own neighborhoods, not by war, but by Airbnb and short-term rentals. The city centers are becoming museum economies, hollowed-out shells full of brunch spots and luggage lockers, while the people who make the city run are pushed 2 hours into the periphery. You aren't living in Madrid anymore, you're camping in it, waiting for the next rent hike to push you over the edge.
40 years ago, Spain made a deal with the devil. They decided to stop building factories and start building hotels. Manufacturing now accounts for less than 12% of Spain's GDP. Compare that to the past, when Spain was an industrial powerhouse. Today, Spain is the waiter of Europe. When the sun shines and the planes fly, the country feels rich. But you can't build a superpower on low-skill service jobs. When you lose factories, you lose the high-paying blue-collar jobs that sustain the middle class. When those jobs go to Poland or China, the towns die. Spain has effectively become a luxury retirement home that is running out of staff. The country forgot how to build, how to invent, and how to compete. It bet everything on sunshine, and now the clouds are moving in.
Spain has a demographic problem that looks like an apocalyptic movie, one of the lowest birth rates in the world and one of the highest life expectancies. It is a demographic winter. The Spanish pension system is a pay-as-you-go Ponzi scheme. Today's workers, the Mileuristas, are paying for today's retirees, but there aren't enough workers. To keep the peace, the government keeps raising pensions to match inflation, while the young generation is taxed to death. It is intergenerational robbery. The young are paying for a gold-plated retirement they will never see themselves. Every year, the hole in the budget grows deeper, funded by debt that the unborn will have to pay back.
Try starting a business in Spain. I dare you. You will meet the hydra of bureaucracy. Between the quota de autónomos, the highest self-employment tax in Europe, and the endless forms, Spain has made it a crime to be an entrepreneur. The government treats every small business owner like a hidden billionaire waiting to be taxed. Small companies stay small to avoid the crushing weight of regulation. Spain is a graveyard of micro SMEs that can never compete on a global scale. We have the talent, but it is suffocated by a state that values control over growth. If you succeed, you're suspicious. If you fail, you're ruined forever, because bankruptcy is still a social scarlet letter. Spain produces brilliant minds, surgeons, engineers, AI researchers, but it cannot keep them. This is the brain drain, and it is bleeding the country dry. Why stay in Madrid for 1,300 euros when you can go to Munich or Zurich for 5,000 euros? The elite exodus is at a fever pitch. Spain is effectively a subsidized talent incubator for Germany. The Spanish taxpayer pays for the expensive education of these geniuses, and then the German economy reaps the profits of their labor. What remains is a country with a success ceiling. If you stay, you accept the ceiling. If you want to break through, you buy a plane ticket.
Spain is divided into two worlds. On one side, the insiders, public sector workers and those with permanent contracts from the 90s. They are protected, they have high pensions, and they are almost impossible to fire. On the other side, the outsiders, the young, the freelancers, the temporal workers. This creates a two-tiered society. The young are the shock absorbers of the economy. When a crisis hits, they are the first to be fired. They live in a permanent state of precariedad. This division is the fuel for the political rage you see on the news. The system isn't designed to create wealth, it's designed to protect the wealth that was created 30 years ago.
Spain has not passed a balanced budget in decades. The national debt is a ticking time bomb. But unlike the US, Spain doesn't have a printing press. It uses the euro. It relies on the kindness of strangers and the European Central Bank. Spain is effectively on financial life support. Every time interest rates rise, the bill for past mistakes becomes astronomical. We are paying for a Rolls-Royce welfare state with a Peugeot economy. The interest payments alone are soon to eclipse the education budget. We are spending more on paying for the past than on educating our future children.
So, is Spain doomed? Is it destined to become a sprawling open-air museum where tourists throw coins at the natives? Not necessarily. Spain has bounced back before. But the math is relentless. The debt is real. The aging is real. The poverty of the middle class is real. Spain is a warning flare for the rest of the West. It shows what happens when a wealthy democracy runs out of road. It shows what happens when you prioritize the present over the future. Don't let the postcard fool you. Look at the balance sheet. Spain is poorer than you think, and the clock is ticking for all of us.